Well, Tal Keinan, founder and CEO of Clarity Capital, joins us here on the set for Perspective. Thank you as ever for being with us.
Hi, Natalie.
Well, look, the global markets in turmoil last week really roiled here. Yet on Wednesday, we're seeing most of the European markets so far in the day up about 2%. What risks still face the markets right now?
Well, look, I would, if you're a market participant, I think there is still a significant risk, particularly with European banking stocks, British and Italian banks in particular. So, Barclays, RBS, Intesa Sanpaolo, these stocks are going to be volatile. They're high beta stocks. They were hit the most, on Friday and Monday. Some of them really in the kind of 30%, 40% range. For the economy, I would say that there's relatively low risk of a real escalation of this crisis in the near term. That's what we see. We think the banks are solvent. There isn't real solvency risk on the banks level. We're seeing depositors not rushing for the exits. That's the near term. Longer term, I think there's I think where kind of economics merges with politics. Clearly, there are longer-term risks. So it looks like we're going to be facing this very low interest rate environment for even longer than we had expected.
Interesting. So you think that we could see some change in the Fed's policy and also the ECB policy continuing this very soft stance here? Yeah,
I mean, consensus is for no Fed rate hikes in 2016 and possibly only one in 2017. If you look at the number of European issues that are at negative yields today, not just sovereign issues, including corporate bonds that are trading at negative yields, that can't be a healthy state of the economy for the long term.
So you're saying here, though, that you think that this will be contained, that we're not going to see this kind of contagious event follow from this Brexit move?
Look, if you listen to Marine Le Pen and kind of a lot of the far right in Europe, this is the beginning of the end for the European Union. They're either right or they're not, but I would look at it more as a symptom of something that's happening around the world today, where we see kind of a rise of nationalism and sort of isolationism, and it's been around for a while.
How do you explain that? Is this a class issue?
Class is a big word, but yeah, I mean, I think part of our failure to predict, things like Brexit or the nomination of Donald Trump, for example, to the Republican in the Republican primaries, is very much a kind of dismissal of what we call in the United States the flyover states. The people who like to think of themselves as smart are located on the coast and can't really imagine that kind of thinking, although it seems it's much more prevalent than any of us thought. And I think Brexit is probably just another symptom of that.
And that's part of what makes this story so fascinating, especially for an American audience, because they see so many parallels between what's happening in Europe and what's happening now in the States. Certainly a very fascinating election, fascinating times that we have here. But do tell us more about the role of capitalism and also globalization in this current environment.
Right. There's a good piece in the Times this morning on whether on the end of capitalism. Look, I think we could borrow Churchill's quote on democracy. It's the worst system of all, other than the others. I think the same probably applies to capitalism. I don't think there is anybody's come up with a system that regulates itself better, but it's clearly not perfect, and there are going to be ebbs and flows. Globalization has clearly concentrated wealth in the hands of certain people at the expense of others, and I think a lot of what we're seeing today is a popular response to that.
Right, a backlash that we've been seeing firstly here in Britain. Thank you very much for being with us, Tal Keinan, from New York.